Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, a free site, bettingangle.us, a free site. Today is June the 9th, 2020. Let's talk boxing, but first remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, the Shakur Stevenson fight just ended. Big moment for gamblers because of how it ended. We didn't talk about it in the pre-fight video. I mentioned that I expected Stevenson to win by KO, and he delivered. But understand, if you wanted better odds, if you got greedy, there was the 5.5 over-under for the fight. Now, the reason it's one of those gambling moments, depending on how you played it, is understand the KO officially comes at 1 minute and 31 seconds of the 6th round. What that means is that if you took the under, you lost the bet by 2 seconds. Right? In fact, you lost the bet by 1 second. If you took the over, your ticket cashed. Because again, it was 1 second into the second half of the 6th round that you got the stoppage. In other words, it was 5.5 rounds plus 1 second. Gambling sometimes is that close. Let's talk about Shakur Stevenson. I thought it was a masterful performance. Let me say this. I thought Caraballo came out the first round and tested Stevenson as much as a 100-to-1 underdog can. Right? He covers himself up. He's walking inside. He's cutting off the ring on Stevenson. He's smothering Stevenson's hand speed. Right? He just didn't have the inside game to go with cutting off the ring. By the end of the first round, and the first round to me is the most interesting round of the fight, one man's opinion. By the end of the first round, Stevenson drops him off body shots. And the key punch in the sequence is a Stevenson right hand to the body. Now that's significant because that's Stevenson's non-dominant hand. Right? Stevenson's the kind of guy who's very two-handed. If he needs to hit you with his non-dominant hand downstairs, that's what he'll do. He also figured out that Caraballo was covering up his head. As Timothy Bradley on the telecast put it, Caraballo had a tight defense. Caraballo was prepared to cover up his head. So Stevenson wisely goes to the body, gets the first knockdown of the fight. We get to round 6. Stevenson starts dominating. You notice that anytime Stevenson's able to create space between the two of them, anytime they're in the middle of the ring and not over by the side of the ring, Stevenson's dominating. So I thought the knockdown was beautiful in the 6th round. It's just simply beautiful. Caraballo has his hands close to his head. Right? He has to play defense against Stevenson because of Stevenson's hand speed and countering ability. So he throws a shot on Stevenson. I believe it's his left hand towards Stevenson, right? He throws the shot, and Stevenson is so good at spacing. Look at the replay. That Stevenson leans back and lets the shot go by him. So that's when Stevenson throws his counter. And because Caraballo has been having a tight defense up top, Stevenson throws the left hand to the body. We talked about Stevenson's left hand to the body in the pre-fight video. It's still up on YouTube. Well, this left hand to the body in the 6th round ends the fight. Ball game. Right? Even though Caraballo is D'd up top, right? He's open when he throws shots. That's the opening counterpunchers want. More importantly, he's completely open underneath if you could get low. Stevenson, even though Stevenson's tall, Stevenson gets close enough to him where once he dodges Caraballo's shot, and it's a head shot that Stevenson leans back on, the lean gives him the fight. Once Stevenson times that shot properly and lets the shot miss him, Stevenson has a wide open Caraballo in front of him. He picks Caraballo's body. Caraballo is unprepared for the shot. He goes down hard. Right? If you're in a counterpunching, the end of this fight is beautiful. If you're into fighters who can avoid shots without putting their hands up, in other words, they have the timing down, they trust their reflexes. Let's face it too. Stevenson's in his early 20s. Right? His reflexes are sharp. Young guys can trust their reflexes. That's what youth is all about. Well, if you're into guys dodging shots, coming back, and against an opponent who normally has a lot of defense, because of the timing of the counter, is able to find that guy naked, the ending of this fight is for you. Let me point out, too, that if you look at the replay, you realize if Stevenson wanted, he could have thrown that last left hand up top. Keep in mind, Stevenson's a southpaw. The left is his dominant. Instead, he throws it to the body. And Caraballo is completely unprepared for it. It takes the wind out of him. He hits the canvas. He's badly hurt. He's surprised by Stevenson's timing. That's what great counterpunchers do to you. 1 minute, Caraballo thinks he's on the offensive. He throws the punch, it misses. The next minute, the fight is over, off a Shakur Stevenson body shot. The lesson in this fight, and it would be interesting, is what happens if Stevenson fights a guy who can back him up, like Caraballo does in the first round, but who then backs it up with volume, accurate volume. Right? One of the problems with Caraballo in this fight is Caraballo's low volume. Right? What happens if Stevenson is backed up against the ropes against a guy, Leo Santa Cruz, for example, who actually breaks inside with high volume? Right? Let's just say that would be interesting. I'll say this to Stevenson's opponents. You better try to use your advantage and experience against this young guy soon. Because if you don't fight him now, and he gains that experience, you'll be looking at an absolute monster. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section of this video if you have a gambling story. Right? If you were one of the people who played with an over-under of 5.5 rounds, right? Again, the fight ends 1 second past that. If you got a different over-under, if you bought rounds, if you're a gambler who had an exotic bet and a story to tell it here in the comment section of this video. Thanks for stopping by.